Good morning everybody. Today we are going to discuss about the first chapter in chemistry, chemical reactions and the equations. The important concepts what we are going to discuss in the chapter are: first we have to learn about something about physical changes, second chemical changes, then what are the characteristics of chemical reactions, then chemical equations, then how to write the chemical equation. We have two. One is a word equation, another one is a equation using symbols and formulas. Then what is called a balanced chemical equation. Then how can we balance the chemical equation? In that we have a ionic equation also. Then next heading we have a types of chemical reaction. Under that we have various types of chemical reactions. Examples like combination reactions, decomposition reactions, displacement reactions, double displacement reactions, then oxidation and reduction reactions called redox reactions. Then we have effects of oxidation reaction in everyday life. Under that we have to learn about what's meant by corrosion, examples of corrosion, then how to prevent corrosion. Similarly, rancidity and then prevention of rancidity also. These are the headings what we are going to learn under the chapter chemical reactions and equation. Students, we know that hundreds of changes are taking place around us. The changes can be classified into physical changes and chemical changes. For example, here I am writing some changes. I am going to write. Changes means the process. For example, melting of ice, evaporation of water, tearing of papers, burning of LPG, rusting of iron, cooking of food, germination of seeds, like that we have a digestion. So, digestion of food. Like that hundreds of changes are taking place around us. In some changes, no new things are produced. For example, when we are taking melting of ice. Melting of ice means ice changed to water at particular temperature. Ice is made up of water, that is in solid form. In solid form. But while melting, changed it to liquid form of water. So, during melting of ice, solid form of water is getting changed to liquid form of water. There is no change in the composition of water. The composition remains same, but only change of state occurs. Solid changed to liquid. Similarly, evaporation of water. This water in liquid. Water changed to water vapor. This is in liquid state. This is in the gaseous state. But the composition remains same. So no water changed to water in gaseous state. Here water from the solid state changed to water in liquid state. So no new substances are produced. So in the case of melting of ice, evaporation of water, even in the tearing of papers, large size of papers may be teared into small size of papers. So in these three cases, no new things are produced. Therefore, these three changes are coming under physical changes. So the physical changes mean the changes in which no new things, no new substances are produced. Such changes are called physical changes. So example for physical changes: melting of ice, evaporation of water, tearing of paper, cutting of wood into splinter. These are some examples of physical changes. But now let us consider these changes. Burning of LPG. When LPG contains hydrocarbons, for example C3H8, it's called propane. Later we will discuss propane. When it is burnt, changed to carbon dioxide and water. While burning of LPG, two products, carbon dioxide and water. LPG consists of propane and butane. These are the two hydrocarbons. Like petrol, diesel, these are all liquid hydrocarbons. But propane and butane, these are all actually gaseous hydrocarbons, but they are liquefied in cylinder, therefore they are called liquefied petroleum gases. So propane and butane mixture, butane formula is C4H10. So when both burnt, forming carbon dioxide and water, along with the energy, heat. See here one materials are used, propane or butane. While burning, they produce carbon dioxide and water along with the energy. So new things are produced. Similarly, rusting of iron. Iron, when it undergoes oxidation in the presence of moisture, it is changed to iron oxide, Fe3O4 or Fe2O3, Fe2O3.X H2O. It is changed to new substance. In the germination of seed, digestion of food or cooking of food, in all the cases, new things will be produced. New things with new properties will be produced. Therefore, these changes are called chemical changes. So, chemical changes mean the changes which are taking place with the formation of new things or new substance or new materials with new characteristic properties are called chemical changes. So, examples for chemical changes: burning of LPG, rusting of iron, cooking of food, germination of seed, digestion of food. And we have hundreds of chemical reactions are there. About that only we are going to learn under this heading. So we are going to learn about mainly which changes? Chemical changes. And how can we ensure that whether the change is a chemical change or physical change? Based on certain changes we can observe. For example, we have taken in one test tube, we have taken very cleared solution of barium chloride. Barium chloride. Into this, another solution, very clear solution of sodium sulfate. So when sodium sulfate, which is a very clear solution, is added into barium chloride, which is another well cleared solution, as soon as it is mixed, it forms precipitation. Particle starts getting settled. So it forming deposition of new product. That is what we can call it as a precipitate will be formed. So if a precipitate is formed, we can ensure that this is coming under chemical change. So the chemical changes are taking place with the formation of one precipitate. One formation of precipitate. Second, change of color. Change of color. For example, we have taken well cleared, colored, blue colored solution of copper sulfate. Copper sulfate, which is blue in color. Into this we are adding iron pieces, iron metal, which is a brown in color. When iron is added into copper sulfate, then after some times we can see, once it is added and stirred, then we can see red color copper gets deposited. The color of the solution gets faded. So color slowly, slowly turns to pale green. See here, when iron metal, which is a brown, when it is added into copper sulfate, which is blue, then after sometimes when you are observing, the color of the solution is getting changed from blue to pale green. And also we can observe the deposition of red colored, that is what we can say, copper will be deposited at the bottom, which is red in color. So here, color change also indicate there is a possibility of chemical reaction. Third, formation of or liberation of gases. Liberation of gases. See here, we have taken dilute sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid represented by H2SO4. Dilute solution of sulfuric acid we have taken, which is very clear, transparent liquid. Into that we have added zinc metal, which is silvery white or grey. When we are adding into that, as soon as it is entered into that, immediately it forms bubbles. Bubbles will be produced. The bubbles, what is it? May produce a pop sound when we are introducing a burning matchsticks. That indicates that the liberating gas is a hydrogen. So when bubbles are produced or gases bubbles are produced, we can confirm that there is a possibility of chemical reaction. So first case we have what we have discussed, formation of precipitate. From these we can identify, these are the characteristics of chemical reaction. First, what is it? How can we ensure that the change is a chemical change or physical change? Where formation of precipitate is there, then we can say that that is a chemical process. Similarly, where the color change is taking place, or where the liberation of gases are forming or taking place. And in addition with that, heat may be produced or absorbed. But this is taking place in the physical change also. The main changes can be observed is the formation of precipitate, change of color, liberation of gases. In addition with that, we can consider heat may be produced during chemical reaction or heat may be absorbed during chemical reaction. Based on that only we are going to learn about when heat is produced during the chemical reaction, that chemical reactions are coming under exothermic reaction. When heat is absorbed during chemical reaction, means that reactions are coming under endothermic reactions. That we will discuss later. So these are the some of the characteristic changes what we can observe during the chemical reactions. Then next chemical equations. Chemical equation. See here, chemical reactions. One chemical reactions I am writing when sodium sulfate solution is mixed with barium chloride. Solution to form a precipitate of barium sulfate and the solution contains sodium chloride. This is the way to write one chemical reaction. For example, when the sodium sulfate solution is mixed with barium chloride to form a precipitate of barium sulfate and the solution contains sodium chloride. This is one chemical reaction. This chemical reaction can be expressed in a simple way. So the simplest way of representing the chemical reaction is called equations. The shorthand method of representing the chemical reaction is called equation. Equation we have two types. One is by using words equation. That is, in word equation it should be represented like that. In word equation, see here, we have taken first sodium sulfate and that is mixed with the barium chloride. That is the chemical changes. So sodium sulfate is mixed. This plus symbol represents reacts or mixed with barium chloride to form that gives a precipitate of barium sulfate plus and the solution containing sodium chloride. This is the one way to represent the chemical reaction by using words, therefore it is called word equation. In this word equation, what are the substances which are involved in the chemical reaction? They are called the reactants. They are called the reactants. Reactants means the substances which are taking part in a chemical reaction are called the reactants. And the substances which are produced during a chemical reaction are called products. These are called products. While writing chemical equation, we have to write the name and formulas or symbols of reactants in left hand side of the arrow. And the words or symbols and formulas of the product should be written on the right hand side of the arrow. So the reactant should be written in left side of the equation. Products should be written on the right hand side of the equation. So the reactants and the products. Reactant means, I already told you, the substances which are involved in the chemical reaction are called reactants. And the substances which are produced during a chemical reaction are called products. The reactants should be written in left hand side of the equation. Products should be written in right hand side of the equation, and they are separated by the arrow. And here we have given what is it? It forms a precipitate. And we have added this solution. Sodium chloride, sodium sulfate and barium chloride, these are all in the solution form. Therefore, they may be represented by using the word AQ, aqueous. Aqueous means in the solution form. This is also AQ, solution form. And we are getting the precipitate. Precipitate means deposition of solid. Therefore, here we can say yes. Yes means it is a solid form. And the solution containing sodium chloride, that means this is also aqueous. That means more information should be given in the equation while writing. So in the word equation, simply the words of the reactants and the products are written in the equation. The words of reactant should be written in the left side of the arrow of the equation, and the words of the products should be written on the right hand side of the arrow or equation. So this way of representing the chemical reaction by using words, that is what is it called, the word equation. Another equation, the same thing can be written by using symbols and formulas. That is, instead of using words, the symbols and formulas of the reactants and the products should be written. For example, here, sodium sulfate, its formula is Na2SO4. It is in the solution form, so it is aqueous. Plus barium chloride, BaCl2. It is also in the aqueous form. Aqueous means a solution form. That means it dissolved in water. When these two are mixed, we are getting barium sulfate, BaSO4. It is a solid form. Another one is sodium chloride, NaCl, that is aqueous. So, the equation can be written by using symbols and formulas. Here, of course, the entire things are compound, so we have written by using formulas only. So, this is what is it. So, we have two ways of writing equation. One is word equation, another one is equation by using symbols and formulas. So, these two are reactants and these two are products. Of course, this equation is not balanced. So, using symbols and formulas only, mainly we are going to write the equation. Some more examples I am giving. So, chemical equation means the simplest way of representing chemical reaction by using symbols and formulas. That is called a chemical equation. Mainly we are going to follow, what is it, in terms of symbols and formulas. Some more examples I am giving here. Suppose, for example, burning of methane in air. Burning of methane in air. Methane is the first member of the hydrocarbon. Methane in the word equation. Plus burning means combining with oxygen. Methane is a hydrocarbon which contains carbon and hydrogen. It forms the product carbon dioxide. and water plus heat. So this is what is it? Burning of methane in air. This reaction can be written by using words. So it is a word equation. Then by using symbols and formulas. Methane formula CH4. While writing, we have to indicate the state of reactants and the products by using G means gas, S means solid, L means liquid. So that we are giving more information about the chemical equation. That means the correct state of all the reactants and the products must be indicated. So methane is a gas plus O2. It is also gas. That gives. Remember that any elements, carbon combines with oxygen, hydrogen combines with oxygen. Here we have hydrocarbon. The compounds which containing only carbon and hydrogens are called hydrocarbons. The compounds which containing only carbon and hydrogens are called hydrocarbons. Methane is the first member of the hydrocarbon. Like that we methane, ethane, and I told you already LPG, propane and butane, like that kerosene, diesel, petrol, gasoline, Vaseline, tar, all are containing only carbon and hydrogen. Therefore they are coming under hydrocarbons. All are combustible in air. So all hydrocarbons. So what are the materials which are burning in air? They contain mainly carbon and hydrogen. In some cases they may also contain oxygen. For example, paper contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Clothing materials contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So whatever the material which containing rich amount of carbon and hydrogen, they readily burnt in air. They are combustible material. So when methane is burnt in air, here how can we write? Carbon burns in air, becoming carbon dioxide. Hydrogen burns in air, becoming water. So therefore, any organic compound is burnt. The product only will be carbon dioxide and water. See here, what is it? Methane is burnt. We are getting carbon dioxide and water plus heat. Therefore, this reaction, so the reactions which are taking place with the liberation of heat, when heat is produced during a chemical reaction, means that should be written along with the product. When heat is produced, in the combustion means burning. All burning reactions are exothermic because they produce heat along with the products. Therefore, they are used as a fuel. Either methane, ethane, LPG, kerosene, diesel, petrol, all are used as a fuel. Because while burning, they produce as a heat. Therefore, they are combustible materials and of course they are used as a fuels. So this is one equation, that is the burning of methane in air. Now here, this is what we can call it as a word equation. This is what we can call it as an equation by using symbols and formulas. But this equation is not a balanced equation. The next heading would be, what is it? A balanced chemical equation. A balanced chemical equation means the equation which follows the law of conservation of mass. The equation which follows the law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. According to law of conservation of mass, mass can neither be created nor destroyed during chemical reaction. Mass can neither be created. You cannot create any mass. Similarly, you cannot destroy any mass. We can change the mass from one form into another form. Or we can say that the total mass of the universe remains constant. According to law of conservation of mass, the total mass of the universe remains constant. In two ways it can be represented. One, mass can neither be created nor destroyed during chemical reaction, or the total mass of the universe remains constant. Here, the total masses of the reactants will be exactly equal to total masses of the product. Therefore, mass of the reactants and the products will be exactly equal. If the masses are equal, then we can say that that equation follows the law of conservation of mass. How can we ensure that whether this equation is following law of conservation of mass? In order to ensure that, first we have to see the number of atoms of each kind. One carbon here we have and one carbon here. 4 hydrogen here we have, here only 2 hydrogen. And here 2 oxygen we have, here 2 oxygen and here 1 oxygen. Total right hand side we have a 3 oxygen, here only 2 oxygen. Hydrogen here we have a 4 and here only 2. So the equation in which number of atoms of each kind must be similar on both sides. Such a equation is called balanced equation. The equation in which the total number of atoms of each kind must be equal on both sides. Such an equation is called a balanced equation. That means that equation follows the law of conservation of mass. Therefore, this equation is not a balanced equation, unbalanced equation. In a balanced equation, see here I am writing balanced equation, CH4 plus O2 gives CO2 plus H2O plus of course heat I am writing. Here 4 hydrogen, so I am here only 2, so I am multiplying this water by 2. So total we have a 4 hydrogen. So now we have balanced hydrogen. Then number of oxygen, here carbon here only and here only 1. So number of oxygens 2 here and here total here also 2. Here 2 and of course here 2. So total number of oxygen in the right hand side it is a 4. So I am multiplying this by 2. Now this equation is called balanced equation. I will tell you how to balance the equation also. So now this equation is called balanced equation. In addition with that, we have to indicate it is a gas, it is a gas, it is a gas. In a hard condition, while burning, it is also in the gaseous state. So this equation is called a balanced equation. So balanced equation means the equations which follows the law of conservation of mass, or the equation in which the total number of atoms of each kind must be similar on both the reactant and the product side. Such an equation is called a balanced equation. Now the balancing of chemical equation, how can we balance the chemical equation? Balancing of chemical equation. We have many methods are there, but in your syllabus we have only by heat and trial method. Heat and trial method. We have a many method, oxidation number method, partial equation method. Like that we have many methods, but in your syllabus we are going to balance only simple equation. So by using heat and trial method we can easily balance it. Suppose for example, when steam, so it is a gaseous form. Steam is passed over red hot iron, iron is in the solid state. When steam is passed over red hot iron, it forms Fe3O4. It is called ferroso-ferric oxide. Ferroso-ferric oxide plus hydrogen. It is in the solid form, it is in the gaseous form. This is the equation given. It is, what is it? Iron. It is a steam. Then we know that H2 is a hydrogen gas. The chemical reaction is when steam is passed over red hot iron, forms ferric oxide or ferroso-ferric oxide along with the hydrogen gas. Now first we have to ensure that whether it is a balanced equation or unbalanced equation. First we have to write the elements in the reactant side and the product side. Elements, reactant side, product side. Total as a whole we have three elements. One is iron we have, second we have hydrogen, third we have oxygen. Here iron we have only one in the reactant side, and in the product side we have three. Hydrogen in the reactant side we have only two, but in the product side also we have two. Oxygen in the reactant side we have one, and in the product side we have four. By using heat and trial method, first things you have to identify the elements which are present in only one reactant and in one product. First things we have to identify the elements which are present in only one reactant and one product. If you are taking iron which is present in only one reactant and in one product. Okay, hydrogen only in one reactant and in one product. Oxygen only in one reactant and in one product. Here all the components which are present in only one reactant and in one product. So based on heat and trial method, first thing you have to identify the elements which are present in only one reactant and in one product. So here we have identified, of course, all the elements which are present in only one reactant and one product. In that cases, among these, which element is more in number, that must be balanced first. Out of all these, iron present in only one reactant and one product, hydrogen one reactant and one product, oxygen also is in only one reactant and in one product. Out of that, which element is more in number? Iron and 1 and 3, here 2 and 2 only, of course it is equal, oxygen 1 and 4, therefore oxygen which is more in number, that should be balanced first. Therefore, for equalizing, for balancing the oxygen, here 4 oxygen, here we have, therefore this water should be multiplied with 4. I am multiplying. Instead of writing second time, I am writing here itself. Oh, of course we have to write second time. Fe solid state plus 4H2O gaseous form, because we are using steam, then Fe3O4 plus H2 gas. So first we have to balance the element which is present more in number, that should be balanced first. Therefore, here in order to balance oxygen, I have multiplied this by 4. Okay, once when it is multiplied by 4, number of hydrogen becomes 8. Therefore, to balance the hydrogen, this one should be multiplied with 4. That should be written in the next equation. So to balance the number of H2 is multiplied with 4. Therefore, FeS plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 solid plus 4H2 gas. Then finally we have to balance it. So we have already balanced oxygen, then followed by hydrogen, then remaining Fe. Here number of Fe3, therefore it is multiplied by 3. Therefore, the next we have to write in to balance the number of Fe, that is ion. Fe is multiplied with 3. Therefore, 3 Fe solid 4H2O gas gives Fe3O4 solid plus 4H2 gas. So this is what is it, one way to balance the equation. So first what we have to do, identify the elements which are present in only one reactant. And here all are present in only one reactant. Under that, which is more in number, that should be balanced. So we have started to balance oxygen. So it is multiplied with 4. The number of hydrogen becomes 8. So it is multiplied with 4 to become 8. Then ion, here 3 are there. So it is multiplied with 3 to get a complete balanced equation. So the equation which follows law of conservation of mass, or the equation in which number of atoms of each kind, 3 ion, here also 3 ion. For 8 hydrogen, here 8 hydrogen. Total 4 oxygen, here also 4 oxygen. So the equation in which number of atoms of each kind must be similar on both sides, that equation is called a balanced equation. So equation can be balanced by using hit and trial method. One another equation also I am giving an example. For example, KMnO4, it is, what is it? Potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate, when treated with hydrochloric acid, forms potassium chloride MnCl2 plus H2O plus Cl2. These are the possible products. When potassium chloride is treated with hydrochloric acid, potassium combines with hydrochloric acid, form KCl. Mn combines with hydrochloric acid, form MnCl2. Then similar, what is it? Oxygen combines with the hydrogen of this, becoming water, and some more chlorine will be produced in the reaction. This how can we balance it? Identify first thing, the elements which are present in only one reactant and in one product. Potassium present here only, not here, nowhere potassium, here only in one reactant, similarly only in one product. Mn, manganese, this is also present in only one reactant, and here, only here, one product. Oxygen, present in only one reactant, and here only in one product. Hydrogen, only one reactant and in only one product. Chlorine, in only one reactant, Here chlorine is there, here chlorine is there, here chlorine. That means more than one product. Therefore, chlorine should not be balanced first. Chlorine should be balanced at the end. So, identify first the elements which are present in only one reactant and one product. So, we have manganese, first potassium, manganese, oxygen, then hydrogen. These are the elements present in only one reactant and one product. In the reactant one and in the product also one. Manganese here one and here one. Oxygen here 4 and here how many? 1. Hydrogen here 1 and there 2. These are the elements which are present in only one reactant and in one product. This is the reactant side, it is the product side. Out of that, which is more in number? Oxygen. Therefore, oxygen must be balanced first. So here, how many oxygen? 4 oxygen. To get 4 oxygen here, directly I am multiplying this by 4. So now oxygen we have balanced. Once oxygen, if it is balanced, hydrogen here 1 and hydrogen here becomes 8. Therefore, hydrogen becomes 8. So next, hydrogen should be balanced. Here 8 hydrogen. So we have to put 8 HCl here to balance the hydrogen. So now we have, already we have K11 balanced, Mn11 balanced, oxygen here 4. So we have multiplied this by 4. So oxygen we have balanced. After multiplying with this by 4, hydrogen became 8. So we have multiplied this by 8. So hydrogen also balanced. Now only which is not balanced is the chlorine. So that should be balanced at the end of the equation. Now almost all other elements we have equalized. Finally we have to take Cl. Here 8 Cl are there. Here 1 plus here 2 plus here 2. So total this side, right side 5 Cl. Here if we are going to add any number here, then K also will be changed. So K should not be changed. Therefore, the remaining out of 8 chlorine, 1 chlorine here, 2 chlorine atoms are here, the remaining should be in the form of Cl2. Therefore, here 1 and here 2, total out of that here total 3 chlorine here already we have added, remaining 5 chlorine must be here. How can we put 5 chlorine here? Suppose 4 chlorine means we can put 2 Cl2. 2 Cl2 means 4. Suppose here 6 chlorines are mean, then we can put 3, 8 are there means we can put 4, 10 are there means we can put 5, 5 Cl2 means 10, but here we have remaining out of 8, 3 added already, remaining 5 only we have to put. Then how can we put, suppose we are putting 2, 2 into 2, 4, when we are putting 3, 3 into 2, 6, therefore we have to put 5 here, temporarily you can put 2.5. When you are putting 2 Cl2 means 4, when you are putting 3 means 3 Cl2 means 6, but we need to get how many Cl? 5, so we can put it temporarily, we can put 2.5. So 2.5 into 2 means 5, so we have equalized. But in the correct balanced equation, what is the number indicated before the formula? They are called coefficients. The coefficients must be in whole number, not in fractional. But for equalizing, so we may put 2.5. But in the final equation it must be in a whole number. Therefore, to convert this into whole number, everything must be multiplied with 2. Entire thing should be multiplied with 2. So it is multiplied with 2. 2 KMNO4. It is multiplied with 16 HCl. It is multiplied with 2 KCl, 2 MnCl2. It is multiplied 8 H2O. Now 2 and of it is multiplied with means 5 Cl2. Now we are getting whole number. Now this equation is called a balanced equation. So while balancing the equation, first thing you have to identify, that means based on heat and trial method, first identify the elements which are present in only one reactant and in one product. If more than one elements are present in one reactant and in one product, you have to balance the element which is larger in number, that must be balanced first. Like that, one by one should be balanced. In the middle, just to balance it, we must put the coefficient in fraction, but in the balanced final equation, it must be in the whole number. Therefore, to get a whole number, it should be everything should be multiplied with 2. So this way, you can balance the chemical equation. The next, what is it we have? We are going to discuss about ionic equation. Ionic equation. Ionic equation means the equation which contain charged particles. The charged particles are called ions, along with the atoms and molecules which are involved in the chemical reactions. The equation which contains ions which are really taking part in a chemical reaction along with the atoms and molecules of a reactants and the product. That equation is called the ionic equation. It does not mean that it should contain only ions. The equations, suppose for example, iron, solid treated with copper sulfate represented by CuSO4, aqueous, we will get iron sulfate, aqueous, then plus copper, solid. See here, copper sulfate we have taken. Which is blue in color. Into that we are adding iron. We know that which is brown in color. After sometimes we can see that the color, blue color gets faded and slowly turns to pale green. The pale green color is due to the formation of ferrous sulfate. It is a pale green. And the red color deposit will be there. Red, that is what is a deposition is what is it, copper. The blue color is due to what is it, copper sulfate. It is what is it, brown in color. Now this is a chemical reaction. When we are putting some iron pieces into the solution of copper sulfate, then while stirring or after sometimes we can observe the formation of red precipitator under the bottom. And the color gets faded and slowly changed to pale green. This is the chemical change we can observe, but this is the reaction, chemical equation. Iron reacts with the copper sulfate, becomes iron sulfate and copper. This is a pale green color and that is a red. Exactly here the SO4 part. The SO4 part is not involved in a reaction. Iron involves this here Cu. When iron goes here, Cu comes outside. Of course, it is coming under displacement reaction. We are going to learn later. Iron involves in a reaction. Copper involves in a reaction. SO4 is not involved in a reaction. Therefore, this equation can be written like that. This is Fe, which is involved in a reaction, plus from the copper sulfate, SO4 is not involved in the reaction, only Cu is involved in the reaction. But here in the compound, Cu has a charge 2 plus, SO4 has a charge 2 minus. This I will tell you how we are getting SO4 having a 2 minus charge. So Cu having 2 plus charge, therefore we have to write Cu2 plus aqueous becomes, similarly here SO4 we need not to write, Fe having a charge 2 plus, Fe2 plus aqueous plus Cu solid. Exactly, this is the components involved in this reaction. So the equation which contains ions which are actually taking part in a chemical reaction along with the symbols and formulas of other component, that equation is called ionic equation. So the equation which contains charged particles called ions along with the symbols and formulas of other components which are involved in a reaction, that equation is called ionic equation. So in this ionic equation, Fes combines with the Cu2 plus becomes Fe2 plus and then copper. This is the actually reaction takes place here. SO4 existing here along with copper, here along with the iron. So there is no change in the composition of SO4. So this type of equation is called ionic equation. While balancing ionic equation, we have to balance the charges also. Not only the number of atoms of all kind, the charges also must be balanced on both sides. Suppose for example, Mg combines with AgNO3 forms MgNO3 twice plus Ag. This is the magnesium while treating with the silver nitrate forms magnesium nitrate and the silver. The ionic equation here I am writing Mg plus Ag plus gives Mg2 plus and the Ag. Look at this ionic equation. In terms of number, the equation is balanced. 1 Mg, 1 Mg, 1 Ag and 1 Ag. In terms of number, it is a balanced equation. But actually it is not a balanced equation. In ionic equation, the charges also must be balanced. Here Mg having a 2 plus, here Ag having a plus. Therefore the charges must be balanced by putting 2 here. Now 2 Ag plus. So total charge is a 2 plus here, here also 2 plus. But when we are multiplying this Ag plus with 2, number of Ag also it should be multiplied with 2. Now this equation is called balanced ionic equation. In the normal neutral equation, the number of atoms of each kind must be similar on both sides. But in the case of ionic equation, not only number of atoms of each kind must be same, in addition with that, the total charges on both sides also must be same. That should be followed while balancing the ionic equation. So these are about what is it, ionic equation. The next heading we have what is it, chemical types of chemical equation. We have various types of chemical equation. See here, now what are the concepts we have discussed? Once again I am revealing that physical changes, the changes which are taking place without the formation of any new substance are called physical changes. Example, melting, tearing of papers, breaking glass. These are all what is it, physical changes. The changes which are taking place with the formation of new things or new product or new material, they are called chemical changes. The chemical reaction may be represented in two ways, one by using word equation, another by using symbols and formulas. And the equation must follow law of conservation of mass. That is called a balanced equation. And the equation can be balanced by using hit and trial method. And how can we ensure that the change is a chemical change? Means the chemical changes are taking place with the formation of precipitate, formation, change of color, change of course the taste, change of smell, then what is it, liberation of gas. In addition with that, some chemical reactions are taking place with the absorption of heat, they are called endothermic. Some chemical reactions which are taking place with the liberation of heat, they are called the exothermic reactions. So these are the things what we have studied today. In the next class, I will discuss you various types of chemical reaction and the corrosion and rancidity and their prevention. So that's all about today's class. The remaining part I will discuss with you later. Thank you.